Welcome to the Westminster Effects Doxology Podcast. We exist for the glory of God and the tone of his people. I'm Cody Fields. Go buy stuff for your guitar at westminstereffects.com and join the discussion in the Westminster Effects Doxology Podcast Lounge on Facebook. That's so many syllables. I got to change that. We're still at Fight Laugh Feast 2024, and joining me is Justin Johnson from Dominion Wealth Strategists. Justin, what's up, man?
Yeah. Hey, man. I'm doing good. Just had a good time, so...
Yeah,
and you guys here?
You were just on stage.
I was. Yeah. So I got my 2 minutes.
Yeah. So, did you have the butterflies, or are you used to that kind of thing?
I did a little bit the first couple seconds. Yeah. But no, because I've done public speaking and also played music and stuff like that. So yeah, I think if like anybody that's a musician, you just get more comfortable in front of crowds, and stuff like that. So yeah, a little bit, I guess, walking up, but yeah, and then after first couple words, it all just kind of feels natural. Exactly. Yeah. Every now and then. I don't know. How did I do? Did you hear me?
It sounded good as far as I could tell. Yeah. Whoa. I don't know if the camera picked that up, but I really hope it did.
I hope so.
That is amazing. That's never
just happened. Hop over.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
We'll edit that.
Errant Frisbee just invaded the podcast area.
It's one of the hazards of the the conference.
Yeah, this is just life at Fight Laugh Feast, right?
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because that's the those Frisbees are from one of the other financial services firms that's here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, Dominion, first off, your meme game is just incredible.
Well, that's Josiah's meme game.
Sure.
I just want to be fair to him. But
but
thanks, man.
You're representing the company, so it's yours.
Yeah.
I mean, I do some memery with my own. I think you kind of have to with a brand these days.
I mean, I think it's important if you want to attract people that are under 50.
Right, right. But typically...
Which I don't say that to disparage people, or I have a lot of clients over 50.
Right. But if you want people under 50, you got to reel them in somehow.
Yeah.
And the memery, it's kind of important, right?
Yeah.
In terms of, you need to show that you're an authentic brand. You actually have a sense of humor. You're not just running spreadsheets all day, right?
Yeah.
Because it's about more than just a bottom line, right?
It is. Yeah, it is.
So what is your approach with this whole thing, and what do you even do exactly?
Yeah. So we founded the company out of a desire to help the church build wealth, and there's not like a flagship product or service we're pushing to do that. We're not one of these like Swiss Army knife products or something like that. We don't actually like hawk a product per se. We meet with families, find out what their situation is, help them develop a long-term vision for their finances that is multi-generational in its scope and duration. And then we kind of go back and do some analysis and things like that. And we'll have a recommendation or a series of recommendations. And honestly, that is more like an educational meeting.
Okay.
So that meeting is like a 2-hour meeting. And often, honestly, it's not that uncommon to have multiple 2-hour meetings like that with clients because our goal is to educate. It's not to just like push products. We'll go and do the research, find out what seems most suitable for someone, and then we'll make a recommendation. But it's not like, hey, just buy this. It's like, here is the whole picture of your financial, portfolio and where we would, the direction that you want it to go, and we'll help you sort of establish how to do that. So that's that's the goal of that meeting, is really to educate. And like, yes, it's sales, but at the same time, stuff just sells itself if you make the right recommendation that seems if someone knows it's in their best interest, then cool. Like, we don't really have sales tactics. It's just this is why we think this will be the best thing for you, and they ask us a bunch of questions and we sort of step them through it, and that's pretty much it.
Here's why this would be the best thing for you is actually a really good sales tactic, because it's literally just meeting a need.
Yeah, it is. It's a stated need from the previous meeting.
Right.
So it's like you said you wanted ice. Here's an ice maker.
Right.
Yeah.
I do the same thing with these pedals. It's, hey, you said you needed a delay pedal. Well, here's my delay pedal. You literally said you wanted one.
Exactly.
So, why do you hate Dave Ramsey so much?
I wouldn't say we hate Dave Ramsey.
You loathe him, is the proper term, right?
But the meme game with Dave Ramsey is strong, probably.
Yes, it is.
So what I would say to Dave, in fairness, is I think that Dave means well. I think that he genuinely believes he's serving people and helping people, and that's his prime motivation.
Yeah. And I'm not accusing him of grifting.
Oh, yeah, no, I just wanted to establish that, and I'm not saying you are. I just want to put that out there that, like, even though we make fun of him, we don't view him as some sort of, like, enemy or anything like that. Like, he is someone that has tried to work with the church to help them get out of debt.
Right.
And if someone follows his advice in America, they'll be better off than the average American.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I would never really question that. But I wouldn't say it's optimal advice.
Sure.
It's generalized advice, and he has his 5-step, I think it's 5 steps. They're not bad, but they're not nuanced. There's no conditions to those steps. They're very generalized, broad, and generic. And I mean, imagine like discipleship or something like that. Like when you embark upon a discipleship journey with an older man or something along those lines, you don't like, oh, this is my 10-step program, bro, let's go. Like that would be really weird. No, this is someone that's going to examine your life, examine what's going on, and then be like, well, in your situation, here's what we can work on and here's what we can do. That's the difference with our approach. And so while we do, we like Roth IRAs like he does, but it depends on, is it suitable?
Right.
We like term insurance. Yeah, exactly. Like because I've had people come to us like, well, what about a Roth IRA? And I'm like, well, I'll never say no. But what I'll say is, well, here's where a Roth IRA is good for you in your situation. Here's the pros and here's the cons. And end game is what gets you the highest net worth later in life.
Right.
And so when you kind of like show the numbers and show the reasoning, they just, whoever I'm working with, they kind of make the decision more or less. And so we're not shuttling people into a generic model that might not be applicable to their specific situation. We're trying to meet them where they are. And so we see ourselves as, if Dave is Luther, then we're Calvin, like he wiped a lot of the grime off the window, but it needs some cleaning up still, right? Yeah. So and we're working on curriculum and book materials and stuff like that as well, because we want to be able to offer materials to churches. It's in demand because a lot of churches are saying like, okay, Financial Peace University, it's cool,
right? But
we want something better, a little bit different, more nuanced, and it might be more applicable. And frankly, it's a little outdated at this point,
right?
And so that's what we're working on, even on that level, so that we can provide actual, real educational resources for people.
That's really interesting, like actually providing educational resources.
And it's tough because I don't have a 5-step plan.
Right.
There's conditions and there's nuance to it, and so trying to make that digestible for someone, without trying to make them a financial services expert, is challenging, and that's what we're working on. I think we'll get there, but for those of everybody that wants this, please be patient.
Want to start reading the Puritans but don't know where to begin? Puritan Treasures for Today from Reformation Heritage Books makes the riches of these godly writers of old accessible for the modern reader. With updated language and helpful introductions, these classic works from John Owen, Jeremiah Burroughs, and more are the perfect starting point for the curious reader. Learn more about the Puritan Treasures for Today at heritagebooks.org/Puritan Treasures and use coupon code WEDoxology at checkout and save 10% off your order. That's heritagebooks.org/Puritan Treasures, coupon code WEDoxology, all one word. I do like the room for the fact that life isn't a 5-step program in and of itself, right? Like, some kids start driving at 16 and others at 17.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I started at 18, but okay.
Yeah. And okay, so you were a late bloomer, fine.
It was financial as much as anything else.
Right. And so it's almost like this is coming from some experience or something, right?
Somewhat. Yeah, it could be.
So one, where can people find you?
Reforms.money is the easiest. That's the www.reform.money. Usually if you put reform.money, it comes right up.
Okay. I actually flipped the questions I meant to ask.
Sure.
How often do you get people who try to guilt trip you from the David Platt radical, Francis Chan, crazy love angle of why shouldn't we just be giving all of this money to missions or whatever? Yeah,
that's a good question. So I wouldn't say it's super often.
Yeah.
We do get people that want to argue with us. Like we've had a couple of people stop by the booth this weekend and want to start arguments, actually usually about Dave Ramsey.
Oh, okay.
And just been like, go work with someone at Dave Ramsey then.
Yeah.
Because we're not here to fight. But what we usually offer is like,
You are here to laugh and feast.
yeah, I suppose maybe we should be here to fight. But what we'll say is like, hey, how about you schedule a meeting with us? There's no obligation, and let us demonstrate to you how there could be a better way for you.
Yeah.
And that's what's really important to us. So I wouldn't say we have that fight often, but it is near and dear to our hearts because, I mean, this is Gnosticism. This is the remnants of Gnosticism in the church.
Yep.
And that's what we're trying to stamp out ultimately is, no, this stuff is important. And most people, I shouldn't say it this way. Most billionaires are not made in one generation. Right. That's
true.
And most millionaires are first generation, but a lot of that is simply because the children are financially illiterate. And most millionaires who, when they die, they pass those millions to their children.
Right.
In most cases, the United States, all those children who were, if they were millionaires after dad died, they don't stay millionaires for long.
Right.
We want to change that. The church should be the ones that like, oh, mom and dad built this. We're going to build it bigger, bigger, bigger. You can grow through multiple generations. Time is the valuable asset. It's the valuable factor in building wealth more than anything else. And if you have multi-generational means of building wealth and being faithful, like not if you're the person that's starting this in your family, awesome.
Yeah.
But then go from there and move beyond that to, okay, now your children need to know about this stuff and get them hooked up with the right services.
And in that, you'll actually end up with more funding for things like missions, church plants, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you should.
It's like taxes, right? You cut the tax rate, you actually end up with more tax revenue.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and along those lines, like, my goal is for my clients specifically to be the ones that hold the pocketbooks in the churches, honestly. Like, I want when my clients are sitting in the church and the elders announce, we have a training need for our pastor, or we have a building renovation coming up or anything like that, I want them to be the first ones to whip out their checkbooks and be like, how much? I have the means. I can do this. Or influence their community politically or otherwise. Like that stuff costs money. You can't take out political ads. You can't put up billboards, all that other stuff. That costs money. And right now, you know what? Atheists know how to spend that money really well, really effectively, and they're doing great. They are doing excellent. We've lost a lot of ground. There's a lot of facets to this. Your pastor will take care of the spiritual, but let me talk to you about your wealth. And how that you can use this as a tool to execute a plan to influence your church community family in a way that's beyond what you could do if you just gave everything away every month, which might sound nice and simplistic, but frankly will not get you far, and it won't move the needle much in the scheme of things in God's kingdom. The cathedrals that were built hundreds of years ago, even over 1,000 years ago, those were expensive. Those were multi-generational investments,
and they took hundreds of years to build.
They did. And the men that started those projects, they weren't alive when they were finished. But they knew they were building to something greater, something that would draw the human heart toward attention toward God. And so that when someone walked in, they could look up and go, this is some sort of window into heaven. And that's ultimately how I want Christians to think. Everyone I work with to think is not just how can I, sit around in Florida, and when I'm 60 and like watch TV and play golf, but rather achieve.
John Piper, Justin Johnson, Michael Scott.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. But rather how to achieve financial independence so that you can be involved in opportunities to serve without worrying about whether they pay or not anymore, because you're financially independent. That's what I want retirees to be, quote, retired, right? That's where I want them to be, is like, this is my vision for faithfulness and service. And, honestly, you should be at that age the wisest you've been and have the most to offer. So wouldn't it be great if you could do that full time? Not necessarily as a vocational minister, but like go pull all the young men aside in your church or go on a trip or whatever it is and have the freedom to do so.
Love it. So reform.money, I assume your Facebook, Instagram, X, all that good stuff.
Yep. If you, Dominion Wealth Strategists, if you, on Facebook, I think Instagram, I forget what the handle is. I think it's Dominion _WS. We're not as active there. Facebook is our main social media platform. That's kind of like the big dog right now for us.
Me too.
And you can get on reform.money and schedule a meeting, or You can also subscribe to our newsletter and get blog posts and stuff like that. We try to put out a lot of educational content.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Go check out Dominion Wealth Strategists. Go love God, love your neighbor, make some music. We'll see you next time.